Number 1. U.S. deeply concerned about citizens held in North Korea, including Newman. From CNN, the U.S. government pleaded Saturday for North Korean authorities to release 85-year-old Mario Newman, with a spokeswoman saying officials are deeply concerned about him and another American being held in the isolated East Asian nation. Given Mr. Newman's advanced age and health conditions, we urge North Korea to release Mr. Newman so he may return home and reunite with his family, said National Security Council spokeswoman Kathleen Hayden. Washington's plea came on the day North Korean state media released print stories and videos showing what they called Newman's apology. University of California, Berkeley professor Steven Weber criticized it as highly scripted political theater. So how did an elderly retired financial consultant and Korean War veteran become the control figure in an international dispute? Why is there such animosity still tied to a conflict, the Korean War, that ended 6 decades ago? And why is this all unfolding now? Weber, a former consultant to the U.S. Commission on National Security, has a theory. They are trying to get the Western media to pay attention. With a notable exception of its longtime ally China, North Korea is in many ways a pariah state bogged down by what may view as decades of repressive leadership. At the same time, the communist nation has had difficulties getting enough energy to power their country and food for their people, largely shut itself off from the rest of the world. Its leaders and state media often use saber-rattling rhetoric to unite citizens against what Weber described as nasty outsiders, which not consistently are chiefly South Korea and the United States, just as during the Korean War. The discord in recent years has centered mostly on North Korea's nuclear and missile programs, with the international community taking punitive measures such as economic sanctions to hold Pyongyang in check. North Korea hasn't been alone. Iran, too, has long been an international target because of its nuclear program, though the landscape had changed with the recent diplomatic accord. That fact may not be lost on Pyongyang, said Weber, who surmised North Korea may be particularly eager to get the world's focus and ideally concessions in the process. Added Weber, if the Iran thing gets settled peacefully, then guess who's left? Why stand back for his release? Elderly man, not only American detained. Newman is not the only American being detained in North Korea. In her statement, Hayden also asked for the release of Kenneth Bae, who was arrested in November 2012 in North Korea. Last May, Bae was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor after North Korea's government found him guilty of hostile acts and attempts to topple the government. We are thankful that the White House has advocated for the release of both Mr. Newman and my brother, Kenneth Bae, said Terry Chung, Bae's sister. It has been a devastating experience for my brother and my family, so we pray every day for his release. Now we are including Mr. Newman in our prayers. We cannot forget about these two men. For every action that the U.S. government takes toward his release, we are thankful. In a statement, Chung said Bae suffers from chronic health conditions that require doctor's care. Other detained Americans, UNIC has Newman's age and the circumstances surrounding his detention are unique. According to his family, the Palo Alto, California resident has gone on a 10-day organized private tour of North Korea in October. From phone calls and postcards he sent, the trip was going well and there was no indication of any kind of problem, son Jeff Newman said. The day before he was to leave, two Korean authorities met with Newman and his tour guide. The son added, they talked about Newman's surprise record, which left my dad a bit bothered, according to Jeff Newman. Then just minutes before his Beijing-bound plane was set to depart Pyongyang in late October, he was taken off the aircraft by North Korean authorities. Newman's weeks-long detention is complicated by the fact that, according to his son Jeff, he suffers from a heart condition. Sweden's ambassador to North Korea visited Newman on Saturday, where he is being held at Pyongyang's Yanggakdo Hotel, and delivered his medication, his family said. As a result of the visit, we know that Mario is in good health, the family added. Mario reports that he is being well treated and that the food is good. The Newmans went on to thank the ambassador and express appreciation for the cooperation of the DPRK government in allowing the visit to take place. We are asking that the DPRK authorities take into account his health and his age and, as an act of humanitarian compassion, allow him to depart immediately for home. The family said, all of us want this ordeal to end and for the 85-year-old head of our extended family to be with us once more. Reported apology. I have been guilty of big crime. Until Saturday, the North Korean government had not said why it held Newman. American accused of spying issues apology. The explanation came in the form of a published apology from Newman, as well as accompanying images of his thumbprinting, his handwriting note, and talking about his experience. Atop the first of the 4 pages is the word apology, according to video released by North Korea. The end of the last page is dated November 9, indicating Newman made his reported admission more than 20 days ago, when my Pyongyang have waited 21 days then to make the admission public. That's another one of the mysteries surrounding this case. In the note, Newman talked about his having advised the Kuwait unit, part of the intelligence bureau fighting against Pyongyang in the Korean War. He detailed how he commanded troops to collect information and wage various deadly attacks. After I killed so many civilians and North Korean soldiers and destroyed strategic objects in the DPRK during the Korean War, I committed indelible offensive acts against the DPRK government and Korean people, Newman said, according to the apology reported by KCNA. The reported messages also touches on his return 60 years later to North Korea, admitting that he shamelessly had a plan to meet any surviving soldiers and pray for the souls of the dead soldiers. I have been guilty of big crimes against the DPRK government and the Korean people again, Newman added in the apology. His statement ends, if I go back to the USA, I will tell the true features of the DPRK and the life the Korean people are leading. In addition to this statement, KCNA ran a story alleging Newman came to North Korea with a terrorist group in October and afterward perpetrated acts of infringing upon the dignity and sovereignty of the DPRK and slandering its socialist system. This story claims that Newman tried to look for spies and terrorists who conducted espionage and supervised activities against the DPRK. Investigators determined that as a member of the U.S. military, he masterminded espionage and subversive activities, and in this case, he was involved in the killings of civilian personnel of the Korean People's Army and innocent civilians. The investigation clearly proved Newman's hostile acts against the DPRK, and they were backed by evidence. The KCNA story added he admitted all his crimes. Is American man a bargaining chip? Newman's fate, North Korea's thinking unclear. Just 5 days ago, his wife Lee said she hoped he would be home for Thanksgiving. We need to have Mary back at the head of the table for the holidays, Lee Newman told CNN's Wolf Blitzer, and we ask respectfully for them to release him and let him come home. One day before Thanksgiving, Rep. Charlie Rangel, who himself was wounded fighting in the Korean War, released a letter urging North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to release him immediately. Noting Newman's medical issues, the New York Democrat implored Kim to have the heart to reunite him with his loved ones and those who can provide proper care. Rangel also reflected on the 1950s war, as well as the current state of affairs between the key players. I believe that Mr. Newman, like myself and others who have fought during the Korean War 6 decades ago, wants to see a united Korea in our lifetime, wrote a congressman. While progress has been slow on the political front, I'm confident it can be advanced on humanitarian grounds. So will be fresh movement in Newman's case. Will his reported apology pave the way for his release, or will it be followed, like by Bay, with a lengthy prison sentence? As of Saturday, nobody, at least nobody outside of North Korea, seems to know. As Weber, the Berkeley professor, said, when it comes to North Korea, nobody knows very much. Number 2, U.S. man in hot water in Dubai over parody video from CNN. It was intended as a piece of comedy, but it's turned into a drama. A young American living in the United Arab Emirates has been imprisoned since April, his family says, for posting what was intended to be a funny video on the internet. Now the family of Shenzhen Sheikh Kam Singh wants to bring attention to his case ahead of a hearing December 16. The video in question is a 19-minute short that pokes fun at a clique of Dubai teens who are influenced by hip-hop culture. In the 1990s, the label Sadwa G was coined for a group of suburban teens who were known to talk tougher than they really were. The video depicts a look at a combat school in a suburb of Sadwa, where these gangsters are trained. The training includes how to throw scandals at targets, using clothing and sensors as whips, and how to call on the phone for backup. It's like someone in the US making a parody video of a Brooklyn hipster and getting thrown in jail, or it and being held in jail for months without bail. Kam Singh's brother, Shervan Kam Singh, told CNN Flat Carey, that's what was going on here. Kam Singh's family says Sheikh 29 has been charged with endangering national security, but they've not been told what about the video endangers security. UAE authorities did not respond to CNN requests for details about what charges Kensi may be facing and why. It's just a straightforward, silly comedy video, and he's being treated like some sort of dangerous criminal. High security criminal that they need to keep under maximum security conditions. Shaban Kensing told Kari about his brother. Shaz Kensing has lost a lot of weight, but is otherwise in good physical condition. His brother told CNN. Kensing from Woodbury, Minnesota, moved to Dubai in 2006 after graduating college to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers, Dubai lands Middle East First World Expo. He and some friends met and posted the video online in 2012. He was arrested in April 2013. According to the family, Kensing and 8 friends have been charged under a cybercrimes law for endangering public order. This law, the family says, wasn't passed until after the video had been released. 2 attempts by Kensing's lawyers to get him released on bail have been rejected. The U.S. State Department is providing consular advice to Kensing, a department official said, and has attended all his court hearings. The U.S. Embassy and Consulate General have engaged with UAE counterparts to urge a fair and expedient trial and judgment. The official said the state warranties. The family said in a statement, "We are known as wannabe gangsters, and that's how Kensing portrayed them. These gangsters were known for their decidedly mild behavior and were seen as the total opposite of actual criminals." The statement said the fictional training depicted in the video teaches techniques. They include the best way to throw a scandal at a newspaper target, and ultimately how to use the mobile phone when in trouble. At the last hearing, the judge in the case asked for an Arabic translation of the video, giving the family some hope that the authorities will realize that it was a parody. "I just want my son home for Christmas," said Kensing's mother, Jean Kensing, in a statement. "He is a good young man with a great career and has never been in trouble. Now he's being held for no reason. I've been praying, going to mass, and lighting candles. And that's what I'm going to keep doing." An average of about 2,500 Americans are jailed abroad every year, and about a third of those arrests are related to illegal drugs. The U.S. State Department says in 2010 alone, consular officials conducted more than 9,500 prison visits and assisted more than 3,500 Americans who were arrested abroad, the State Department's website says. Advice for U.S. citizens traveling abroad. U.S. travelers in foreign countries are subject to the laws of those countries, and there is a limit to how much help they can get from the U.S. Embassy or consulate there. U.S. diplomatic corps officials cannot represent you in illegal proceedings or pay your legal fees or other expenses, but they can perform many vital services, such as providing a list of attorneys, assisting in contacting your family, helping your family to send money, and monitoring your health and welfare, the State Department says. Number 3. Stories of life, death, and faith, to heaven and back. From CNN, one woman is underwater and without oxygen for 30 minutes after a kayaking accident. Another has end-stage cancer. A teenage boy suffers heart failure. On the brink of death, all 3 tell story of leaving their bodies, going to heaven, and coming back. For each, their story raises questions. Is heaven real? What does it feel like to die? And for each their answer, airing Sunday on CNN to heaven and back will be grounded in their experience. These are their accounts. Mary Neal. It was January 14, 1999, and Mary Neal, an orthopedic surgeon from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, had surprised her husband Bill with a week-long kayaking trip with friends in the Los Rios region of Chile. It had been a good trip. The couple spent the week enjoying people, the food, and the culture. But that morning, Neil's husband wasn't feeling well, so he started being wild, and she joined their friends on a section of river well known for its waterfalls and drop of 10 to 15 feet. When I first put a float on the river, I didn't feel quite right, she said. Neil crested at the top of the first big drop in the river. She looked down into what she later described as a bottomless pit. Then she went over. The front end of her boat got pinned in the rocks, submerging her in the water. The force of the current pinned her to the front deck of the boat. Her friends began searching for her, knowing that the clock was ticking. Time is very important, Neil said. It determines whether you are going to rescue somebody or recover the body. Precious minutes ticked by. I knew I was going to die, she said. Neil had always worked to become a doctor, worked at her marriage of 26 years, worked at raising her 4 children, but she admits she made very little time for her spiritual life. I did take my children to Sunday school, and I tried to cooperate spirituality into my daily life. And then I would run out for time, she said. Pinned in the boat and out of air, Neil started to give up. I really gave it all over to God, and I really say, your will be done, she said. At the same time, she remembers her friend doing a self-assessment exam. I could still feel the boat. I could feel the current, she said. On the surface above her, her friends were scrambling to try to free her. It seems hopeless, her friends would later say. Then something shifted and another rock was exposed. It was just enough for the group to shift the boat to free Neil, who was sucked out of the bottom of the boat by the current. With her legs bending back over her knees, I could feel the bones breaking. I could feel the ligaments and the tissue tearing. I feel my spirit peeling away from my body, sort of like peeling 2 pieces of tape, Neil recounted. As one of her friends grabbed her wrist to try to pull her out of the water, Neil realized she was outside her body watching the rescue effort. I could see them pull my body to the shore. I could see them start CPR, she said. I had no pulse, and I wasn't breathing. One fellow was yelling at me to come back. My body was purple and blooded. My pupils were fixed and dilated. She watched people work on her, but she felt none of it. When I saw my body, I actually thought, well, I guess I'm dead. I guess I really died, Neil said. As she watched it, she said she was met by these people or these spirits who started to guide her toward a brightly lit path toward what appeared to be a domed structure. It was exploding not just with light and brilliance and color, but with love, she said. There, she spoke with the spirits. They told her it was not her time to die. Then she still had a job to finish, Neil said. One of the reasons she had to return, they told her, was because of her son, Willie. I knew very specifically with regard to my son that he was going to die. Neil said, we talked about how he already fulfilled his job. He'd really already done what he what it was meant to do. Then she was back in her body, breathing again. Those involved estimate that Neil had been without oxygen for 30 minutes. Her recovery would take months, but she no longer took time for granted. It is a journey she chronicled in her book, To Heaven and Back. Each day took on a new meaning for Neil, who awoke every day wondering if it would be her son Willie's last day. On June 21, 2009, 19-year-old Willie went out to roller ski with a friend. He and a friend stopped on the road near a ridge. Wouldn't this be an incredible last sight? If we could never see anything else, Willie told a friend. Less than a minute later, he was hit by a car and killed. I am my own greatest skeptic. Neil said, I'm quite sure that I would not believe my life story had I not personally lived each and every day of it. I absolutely believe that every person can look at their life and see the hand of God. Most miracles, Neil says, are quiet. It's the person who calls you when you most need it. She said, it's the person who directs you to someone who changed your life. Anita Moorjani. On February 2, 2006, Anita Moorjani was in a coma. With her body riddled with cancer, doctors told her husband that her organs were shutting down and she likely would not make it beyond the next 36 hours. I was just so tired of fighting to try to stay alive, she said. Moorjani knew what cancer could do to the body. She had seen it ravage her best friend, Sonny, eventually killing her. So when she was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2002, she was afraid. In a way, Moorjani had always been afraid of living and of dying. Growing up in Hong Kong, she said she was bullied because of her Indian heritage. She went so far as to lighten her hair and bleach her skin to fit in at the British school she attended. I feel I had to apologize for being me, she said. Then she was diagnosed with cancer, one of her biggest fears after seeing it take the life of Sonny. Slowly, the cancer took its toll on Moorjani. By February 1, 2006, sick and weak. She told to herself, even death can be worse than this. So she said she let go. The next morning, she didn't wake up. Her husband rushed her to the hospital where the family was told the bad news. Moorjani was in a coma and not expected to wake again. Moorjani can't put her finger on the exact minute that she said she left her body. She saw her husband standing next to her hospital bed. It was very distraught. He was there by my bedside. I could feel he was willing me to come back, she said. Moorjani could also hear conversations that took place between her husband and her doctors far from her hospital room. She heard them, she said, discuss her pending death. Your wife's heart might be beaten, but she's not really in there. A doctor told her husband a conversation, she said. He would later confirm to her after she asked. Hovering between life and death, she said she was surrounded by people who loved her. Her best friend Sonny was there, so was her father, who had died years earlier from heart failure. There were others there too. She didn't recognize most of them, but she knew they loved her and cared for her. It was a feeling unlike anything she said she had ever felt. At first, I did not want to come back. Why would I want to come back into this sick body, she said. Then, hovering between life and death, she had a moment of clarity, a true understanding. All the years of beating myself up, of feeling flawed, had manifested itself and turned into cancer, she said. About 30 hours after being hospitalized, Morning Jenny awoke. I have finished my reading. Thank you. Bye-bye.